Hey everyone, it's your boy Pee back with another video. Today we're going to be doing my season 1 review of Holy Hella's Ultimate End, or I'm going to annihilate this land, wipe out this country, destroy this country, whichever, all the different websites have different titles that they use, but the official would be Hella's Ultimate End. Essentially, our main character here at the beginning, he is diagnosed with this rare disease that basically is telling him that he's terminally ill. And basically, he just says to himself, he's like, "I want to live. I just really want to live." And despite wanting to basically do anything in order to continue living, he ends up becoming this undead skeleton king. He's like even says to himself, he's like, I know I said I would accept anything to live longer, but you know he's like, but I became this demon king, and working for these gods in hopes of them turning him back into a human. Just essentially what happens is they basically renege on that deal, and they go to try and banish him and his soul. Um, and what that ends up happening is he becomes this, reincarnates into this baby, who is essentially a saint candidate, from House Eshua. That's why we have here. He's like, this is one of the, I don't want to say main antagonists, but this is one of the people who would rather, you know, this, the saint candidate being from his family, not our main character. So basically, once he wakes up in this body form, he's already in the midst of an assassination plot. But really, what this boils down to is our main character. He's basically wants to take over the world now that he's finally human again. Get revenge on those gods that tried to betray him, and basically do everything he did as a demon king, but in a human body now. He wants payback for the gods, and that's what this basically all leads up to. It does have pretty decent art. One of the main points of this though is he is reincarnated into the body of a saint candidate, who ends up going through like these trials to become like the saint. Um, but our main character has a very deep hatred for the gods. So like he's kind of like a saint who is supposed to worship the gods, but in reality he is the demon king who has absolute hatred for these gods. So like when it comes like in this certain scenario, it's like you come to worship the gods. Rather, what happens is instead of like actually getting down to pray and whatnot like that in order to worship the god, he's like hell I will, and he just refuses to bow down to any of the gods. After what they did, he goal is to completely annihilate them and take over, basically become the ruler of the land in place of the gods. I will say though, after he is reincarnated into this baby bottle, he is on the search of getting back his power. Uh, that's why the first important part is going through these trials, because he ends up getting a piece of his old body that harnesses his old magical power. As you can see here, like he's sucking on like I think this was his thumb, and so essentially this season boiled down to the introducing our character, him giving us the backstory of what our main character, who he used to be, who he became, and now who he is. His revenge plot in order to get back at these gods. And ultimately, I feel like it was a pretty decent read. I don't want to say that it was like peak or anything of that sort, because that gets thrown around a lot these days, the word peak. But it does have its funny moments, like, where despite, not being an actual baby mentally, like he'll like commit some like actions, like in here he's hitting this priest, and then he's just like, well, it's time to act like a real baby. And like, in order to use his young age to his benefit, he does end up growing out of this, at part like halfway through the season. Um, he actually becomes like in his, like, here I can just pull up real quick. But he actually has, he grows out of the baby form after a certain point. So he's not in a baby form the whole entire season. Basically, the full season is just him making steps towards becoming the actual Satan candidate. And overall, I think it was rather entertaining. I think the art was pretty good. It does have its funny moments, like with the comedy where he does something like he like take that, and so on. So I think ultimately the season one was done pretty well. I think that it definitely is worth getting a season two of. If we get one, it's definitely good to keep an eye out for, because I feel like as long as they continue going in the direction that they did with this comic, that a season two would be just as good as season one. Um, but I give it a solid 8 out of 10 for the story. I'd give it about an 8 out of 10 for the art. The character interactions, I'd say I give it about a 7. There's It's like basically it's just our main character doing whatever he wants to whoever he wants, like basically bullying as many people as he needs to in order to complete his goal, which is cool, and it's entertaining, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of like genuine relationships built along the way. So other than like with his like own like subordinate, that like his old demon subordinates, like because he can still use his old demon power, which is just like magic. So but ultimately, that's probably it for this review. I would definitely recommend it if you haven't checked it out yet. As I said, season one is over. We're on hiatus until season two, so it was definitely be worth the read to check it out in the meantime. But that'll be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave a like, subscribe, keep coming back, help me grow, so I can continue making these videos, continue making recommendation videos, and just keep sharing in my love with these comics with all of you. But that'll be it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.